Round 1, terza edizione, prosegue l'agenda. Buongiorno a tutti. Qualcuno è arrivato, qualcuno è andato via. Il bello dei panel è questo, che si può scegliere una fantastica location. Siamo qui a OGR a Torino per il terzo anno, anzi per il secondo OGR, ma il terzo anno di Round 1. Il prossimo panel come titolo ha Structuring Esports, Lessons from France and Spain. Non modererò io, ma, anzi meno male direi, Sergi Mesonero, Head of Esports. Ciao Sergi, welcome. Facciamo un applauso.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you? Are you fine?
I'm super glad to be here for the second time physically and for the third time moderating a panel. So yes, I'm super excited.
Nice. Good luck and buon round 1. See you later.
Thank you very much. So, well, good morning. I hope that everybody's having a fantastic time. My name is Sergi Mesonero. I'm the head of ISF Esports at the Interactive Software Federation of Europe. ISF is the trade body representing the video games industry in the continent. Our members are, on one hand, national trade associations, such as IDEA, our Italian member, and also we have the membership, the direct membership of the international video games companies. So you all know their names: Activision Blizzard, Riot Games, EA, Take-Two, etc. Before I introduce the panelists, allow me a bit of a promo moment. During the lockdown, the video games industry and video games provided much needed social interaction, entertainment, and escapism. And the industry stepped up to provide video games in very difficult moment for everybody, and to promote public health messages, to donate to relief efforts. And during lockdown, esports experienced a big growth. And actually, it entered the consciousness of many people, and in particular of decision makers. In this context, the Guide to Esports was born. The Guide to Esports, I'm gonna leave it, it's a bit annoying, sorry. It's an international project by the video games industry. It counted with the support of associations in North America, in Australia, and of course in Europe. And it tried to explain the esports ecosystem to people that, to policymakers, to decision makers, to other institutions. I don't think that the audience here needs a lot of explanation of esports, but anyway, you can use this document for explaining the sector to other people. It's available for free in Italian at IDEA's website, and in English and other languages at ISF's website. And in today's panel, we are going to talk about France and Spain. These countries have the top national esports ecosystems in Europe. In terms of size and video games culture, actually, Italy is very comparable to France and Spain. And by audience volume, actually, Italy is clearly among the top European countries. So what are some lessons that we can learn from France and Spain to help super boost the Italian esports landscape? We have 4 super interesting panelists that will enlighten us on the structure and the evolution of the landscape of esports in their countries. And I'm going to start. They've asked me to alter the order, so I'm going to find every name first. First, Vincent Varcelli, Chief of Incubator Program at Level 256, which is the esports innovation platform of Paris & Co., the City of Paris Agency for Economic Development. On the Spanish side, my former colleague and ex-boss, Jordi Soler, CEO of LVP, Liga de Videojuegos Profesional, which is the leading tournament organizer in the Spanish-speaking market. Yeah. Vincent also deserved. Alicia Morote, COO of Team Queso, one of the main European team organizations and a world leader in mobile competitive gaming. And last but not least, I welcome Stéphane Eutin, CEO of team organization LDLC Olympique Lyonnais, founder and former president of France Esports, and member of the board and in charge of the education group. So thank you very much for coming. I'm going to start with Vincent, with the last one. In France, there's been a before and after, in my opinion, the promulgation of the digital law, Loi pour une République numérique. If I'm not mistaken, it was in early 2017. Can you explain 2016? Late?
Yeah, the law is 2016, but there were 2 decrees for the application
In
of the law.
Application was in
Okay,
2017.
So, can you explain, Vincent, because France Esports was very much connected to the birth of this law, what it represented for the development of French esports?
When we hear about the law building, you know, at the moment, it was a general law about digital regulation, and we hear this, and France Esports was created in the same time. Because we really believe that we need new tools to enhance growing of our ecosystem. It was really useful, and we followed the building of this law, and we saw the difference because at the beginning we had no no status for public and for politics, and after this moment, everything became real for politics. It was really important for us because we write something in the law. Now it's like we put something on a stone, and this is for us a real milestone and the beginning of the structuration in France.
What are the main points? What does the law mention about esports? What are their main points?
The main point was to create an exception, because an exception of the gambling and playing ecosystem regulation, because esports was included in this ecosystem before this law, and because of it, we couldn't organize events freely like we wanted, like the endemic players could do, and we were at the beginning, but every of the events was illegal. So the key was to create this exception and to understand what is the difference between esports and this kind of industry, the gaming industry, I mean gambling and betting industry. And we create a difference that allows us now to build our own industry.
This is quite interesting because, in fact, in Italy, there's a similar situation with the regulation for priced contests. So this is something that could be applied also for Italy, this kind of exception of this separation between esports and what are, on the other hand, games of chance. Does it say, you mentioned, Vincent, that after the promulgation of the law, there was some developments, regulatory developments. Can you, or maybe Stefan, mention what they were?
Yeah, definitely. Stefan said the main point was to create an exception in the legal framework, because before the law it was quite unclear what kind of field esports should be taken. And now we have a framework, and within that framework we have now legal status as well for professional players. You know what, they benefit now from a fixed-term contract from 1 year to 5 years. They have social protection, and it underlined as well the underage player protection. You know, because before that it was like the Far West. You know, I don't know. What's your opinion?
Before you could hire under 16 years old kid for playing, but we discussed about this subject, and esports ecosystem said we don't want to go on this level. If we have to set a limit, 16 is okay for us. So don't change the law for us, and we protect the kids.
Yeah, and it gave a huge legitimacy about the sector on a political point of view, because the law was in 2016, then you have the decree of application in 2017, and then in 2019, so 2 years later, the government took a 5-year roadmap on publicly, you know, they said, okay, now we have from 2020 2020 to 2025, here's the roadmap with 4 major points, like democratize esports, create training formation, for the high-profile player, and then support investment and innovation. That's how level 256 were created. And the last point was, to reinforce, increase the international attractiveness of France compared to competition from Italy, for example, but as well from Spain and other countries around the world.
So you have mentioned that some effects that the law has created, that it has apparently, in your opinion, Vincent, Stéphane, helped grow the esports ecosystem in France, because actually the esports ecosystem in France in the last 5 years has really exploded.
Yes, and structuration exploded, as you mentioned.
In a good way.
Yes.
In a good way.
And this year we organized an event at Élysée with the president, the French president, government, and the government talk again about the investment of the government, the world government on esport industry, because we are not talking about little nest now. We are talking about 4.8. I don't want to say the new numbers because it's close. Actually, but it's 4.8 million players of esports in France. Mm-hmm. So we have a social movement now, and the government has to manage this movement. But how to manage a movement without talking with endemic actors? That's the key, and we create France Esports for this. Only endemic actors can build and lead a strategy on its own industry.
Absolutely. By endemic actors, you can mention, for just in case someone does not know what we are referring to. What type of actors? The endemic actors. I mean, you can list. I mean.
I don't understand your
I mean,
point.
it's the team organizations, is the...
the members of
France Esports, it's...
endemic actors, of course, excuse me. Endemic actors are players, are promoters, teams, organizers, and it's including publishers. Mm-hmm. Because all these actors are stakeholders of our sector. Without talking with all of them, you can't build a strategy for a whole industry.
Exactly. Okay, so we are moving now to Spain. In Spain, there have not been that dramatic moments, like the promulgation of a law or the president organizing a reception for the sector. But in your opinion, Jordi, Alicia, what are some watershed moments, some important moments that have represented a before and after in Spain?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you to organization to inviting me in this lovely place. It's amazing.
Yeah, you've been quite wide-eyed since you've seen it.
So thanks a lot. Secondly, let me introduce myself just 30 seconds. I'm the CEO of LVP. LVP is a tournament organizer. LVP is a company was founded by 4 entrepreneurships in Barcelona 13 years ago, more or less. In fact, Sergi was one of them. And MediaPro bought LVP more or less 6 years ago. MediaPro is a media company. We are a worldwide company, so when we bought LVP, we expand the model of LVP in Spain in Latin America. So right now we are the leaders in the Spanish-speaking countries in terms of esports. And I was telling this history because regarding what's happening in Spain, I think LVP was part of the history of esports in Spain. LVP has been working in the ecosystem side, working with the community, working with all the stakeholders from scratch. And more or less in 2016, 17, we entered in AEBI, which AEBI is the Spanish ISDE. So IDEA. Sorry, IDEA. So that was the moment where we had the awareness of the industry that we were there, and we were working with AEBI in order to promote esports, to be part of the ecosystem with the publishers. And let's say the situation in Spain was a little bit different than France in the developing of the esports ecosystem. So in fact, we don't need anything because we already are doing what is needed in order to push the esports ecosystem in Spain.
What you mean is that there are not really regulatory obstacles that are important enough for preventing the development of
always there is the discussion between esports and sports, but this noise that always is behind the scenes, but no.
No, but actually in 2018, AEBI presented a position against the classification of esports as a sport in Spain.
Yeah.
And Alicia, what do you think is another important moment in?
Exactly how Jordi was saying, there has not been like this kind of conversation at institutional level, but we managed to do that through the private companies that integrate the sector. So one of the biggest moments for us as a team organization is the moment when ACE, which is the Esports Team Association in Spain, was founded, was the moment where we were able to join our voices and separate the mess from everyone having its own interest from the important things that are needed for the industry to grow. And that was a big part of this direction that we're having right now in Spain, as you mentioned, outside the public side. And recently, even ACE joined AEBI. I think it was like last year, like 2021. So maybe that's the most important.
How many members does more or less have ACE has?
We have two kind of members, like the senior members, which are like the biggest clubs in Spain, the biggest teams in Spain. And I think currently we are 16, more or less. And we have then the flex member, which is focused to the amateur teams that are participating in, I don't know, second division events or maybe recently founded clubs. And I think it's like 8, 10, something like that.
Very nice. And I can see that with different structures, but actually there's a big unity of endemic stakeholders in both France and Spain, which I think is one of the less important lessons that we can take away. Okay. So and there's also I would like to ask, what's the feeling or what's the agreement, if there's an agreement, on the topic of the esports and sport, mostly from a regulatory point of view. I have the feeling that in both countries there's quite an ample agreement among esports stakeholders that, at least from the point of view of regulation, there shouldn't be a union, esports shouldn't be classified or integrated into the sport regulatory framework. And I don't know if you, Stefan or Jordi.
In the Spain side, it's very clear, as you mentioned. The industry, including publishers, tournament organizers, teams, even players, everybody agrees that esports is part of the entertainment industry, and they are not sports. So that's clear. We wrote a lot of papers. We talked with the government, and well, everybody agrees that this is the situation.
What's the situation in France? Is there a consensus? Is there?
It's quite similar for different reasons. If you say that esports is in sport ecosystem, you need to follow sport rules and sport regulation, and some of them are not compatible with esports. That's the first point. And the second point is, if you want to left the strategy and development of esports. And we are talking actually with some people in sport ecosystem. They are saying that video games is evil. How can you build a strategy, an economic strategy, with people that thinking that video games has some soul and wants to kill the kids? It's just a nonsense. For us, it's really important to make some pedagogy to them, and we create bridges we are creating bridges, a lot of bridges between sport and esports. But regulation, we are our own industry. We need to create our own regulation. But it makes time, and everyone want to go fast. We know this in esports. But we are asking to esports to create a regulation in 5 years, like sports did in 40 years. That's insane. That's why we need to take our time for the regulation, but outside of sports scope.
Actually, France is a very interesting, very interesting case in Europe, because it's the only European country that has a specific regulation for esports through the Loi pour une République numérique and the regulatory developments that were done afterwards. This is something that some people think that there's a lot of countries that have regulated esports, but actually in Europe it's literally not the case. And also the other kind of urban myth, urban legend that exists is that many countries consider esports a sport, and none in the European Union. In the European continent, there's 3 countries that do so, which are, and this is a bit ironic, Russia and Ukraine, and on the other hand, North Macedonia. And it's very interesting what you mentioned about sport regulation not being fit for purpose, because that's actually the conclusion of the European Parliament, it seems. The European Parliament's Culture and Education Committee approved this month a non-legislative report on video games and esports that mentions precisely that esports and sport are different sectors, and that esports should be addressed specifically and ideally at European level. This report, by the way, is going to be voted this month of November, this coming November, by the plenary of the European Parliament. So very soon we will have an official position by the European Parliament on the topic of video games and esports regulation. What I don't remember if it's you or you that mentioned that this separation has not prevented the collaboration between the world of sports and esports. And the case of LDLC, which the historic team organization LDLC joined forces with Olympique Lyonnais in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Stefan, can you explain how this partnership came to be and what's the role of each partner?
I think it's the same topics that when we are talking at the government level. When a professional team from sports want to go in esports, they try to do it in their sports experience, with their sports experience, and they fall. They try, and they understood that it's difficult to find the good people to lead this and to build a strategy around this, because the ownership is not the same. You know, the team, the professional team in football is the owner, is the IP owner. So it's totally different when you have an IP owner of the game. And because of this, we talk a lot about the needs of esports professional team, actual needs that to be connected to institution, to be connected to public, develop our public relationship. And because of it, we decided to merge, because now Olympique Lyonnais has an endemic actor to lead its esports strategy. And this is quite better, of course. I'm part of it. I won't say it's not good to do it, but I can feel the results, you know, for Olympique Lyonnais on social network. I don't want to joke about the result of the football club, actually, but we had results at European level, and it built discussion on their own social networks about we are creating a new arena, for example. LDLC Arena will come next year, and could be a good place for events, sport event, basketball, and most of the reaction in social network was about esports. It's, okay, you have a new arena, so you will be new event, esports event, and they understood that it's a good way to follow a strategy with endemic actors at this level, not only at the government level or ministry. Even clubs, even grassroots level, have a good interest to talk with endemic players before go on esports ecosystem.
In Spain, we have seen these partnerships too, and multiple footballers have created that. The last example is Gerard Piqué with Ibai, their own teams, and even as well, the case of LVP has a partnership with La Liga for developing the FIFA competition. Can you explain a bit?
In Spain, let's say we have two type of initiative. No, we have traditional sports clubs that they want to be involved in eSports side. For example, in our League of Legends league, we have Football Club Barcelona playing as a team in League of Legends, and they are also involved in other games and Rocket League, and for sure will come more in the near future. But also traditional players like Gerard Piqué or David De Gea, they are having initiative in eSports side because they are part of these new generations that the games are part of their entertainment, let's say. And also we have one of the biggest initiatives in the sports side, which is La Liga. La Liga is organizing a tournament joined with Electronic Arts. This next season will be the 6th season, I think, and we have been part of this initiative from scratch, and not all, but near 95% of football sports clubs in Spain are part of this initiative. There is a league between teams of first and second division, and it's so huge, the level of the production. In fact, it's the best eSports product that we have in Spain. And yeah, these are the kind of the bridges that could be in both sides. And always we are talking the same. We are producing content, we are talking about entertainment, and we are producing content and entertainment for the new audiences, which is the key thing.
And do these bridges also exist in Paris & Co. in level 250?
Yeah, definitely. Between sports and e-sport ecosystem, we share a lot of common grounds, but people within the industry does not make the confusion between the two fields. And I think the most same thing we share is the management of the communities. Mm-hmm. Like if you are a supporter or fan of a team, it's basically the same. Like from sport to e-sport, you can buy a T-shirt from PSG or Juventus, well, PSG on my side, but you can also buy a T-shirt from LDLCOL, for example, or e-sport team. And then after that, in a more and more digital world, you have to think a new way of fan engagement and fan reward. So there you go to many kind of field for from NFT to any kind of things you can imagine to get your fan to stay in the communities and to keep them engaged more and more in your events, besides the sports and or esports event itself.
Mm. So with all this, sorry, were you going to say something, Alicia?
I mean, from my side, it's not the same because I don't have these bridges between any professional club from sports. But of course, we have a lot to learn from an industry that is already established. So we can learn a lot from them. But that doesn't make us the same.
But actually, inside ACE, there are some professional teams that have these connections with the world of...
Yeah, for sure. Through La Liga, particularly, and the football players that are founders of clubs, Casemiro as well.
So, with all this talk about partnerships with the sport, we cannot forget that the driving force behind esports is actually the endemic actors, the developers, the publishers, the team organizations, the tournament organizers, the agencies, the companies that provide services to all of those actors. And in this sense, the vision of Paris & Co. with the creation of Level 256, the esports incubator program, has been particularly prescient. I mean, it was like already many years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago. How the Paris City Hall and Paris & Co. how this did happen? How they see the role in the development of this economic ecosystem?
Well, I think it was the first interpretation of law sign, because at Paris & Co. we are a non-profit, half public, half private agency for economic development and innovation. So the idea of innovation is that, okay, this field, I don't know where it goes, but I feel that it will have a huge potential. And then you had the law that you mentioned in 2016, and then we thought, okay, maybe there is something to do. So let's create an incubator, an innovation platform dedicated to esports, so level 2, 5, 6, and incubate a few startups at the beginning. And then something happened, and that something is the awards in 2019 in the Accor Arena. It's 12,000 people. It's right in front of the Ministry of Economic. So the public sector said, okay, there's a bunch of people watching another bunch of people playing video games in a stadium. What is that, you know? So then we go, esports, what is that? And then, innovation, you have a digital world, huge communities, you have many people in streaming, when you have 20,000 people in the stadium, you have 100,000 online. So there is a huge field of economic development, of audience, of innovation, and the answer is that people are doing that. So we have to provide them something to nurture them, to help them to grow, to help them to innovate and keep the finance good, and say to non-endemic people like the investor, the VCs and stuff, okay, here we go. There are startups, there are innovation, you have entrepreneur. Let's invest with them and work on that. And that's how we got in 2018.
Well, no, that's pretty impressive. And I would like now to go to Alicia, because actually Team Queso has become also an incubator of sorts. I mean, with several initiatives in the video games development, in blockchain and others. How a team organization decides to venture into these other businesses?
Well, in fact, we need to understand or keep in mind that the esports organizations are not only about competition. Of course, competition is the main pillar, but we're still developing our business models. So it's important to explore different revenue streams that we can profit from, as Vincent was saying. So for us, it's super important to keep an eye on innovation, and it's one of the main parts that we are developing in order to make the industry more sustainable and reach our own limits, still to discover.
This venture into related areas is also happening in LVP's parent company, MediaPro. Can you explain a bit why it is important to have this foot in different related sectors?
Yeah, at the end, as I said previously, we are part of the entertainment industry. MediaPro, it's a media company, we produce content, and when we decided to vote LVP 6-7 years ago, the idea was, okay, let's create a new business unit in MediaPro, let's call innovation. So we are part of innovation of MediaPro, still today. And the idea is to explore how to reach the new audiences. You know, the target of the new audiences is very difficult for everyone, not only for brands, but also for content creators, there is a fight, it's an amazing fight in content creation side to reach the audience. Companies like MediaPro, that we are coming from a traditional B2B model and creating content for the traditional broadcasters. We need to move and to explore new opportunities. So we are not talking, or we are not working in the innovation side from the point of view of the technical side. We are working in the innovation in terms of how to create new contents and how to reach let's say, the end customer, and how to produce this engagement for these new audiences.
And Vincent, and I'm going to do now a round of, Stefan, I'm very terrible with me. Yeah. You should. That's a problem, that they made me change the order of the seat. No, but let's start with you, Stefan. What's something that you are currently involved with, something new that you would like to highlight to the audience today?
to share. We have new programs. We build new programs with esports. The new idea is to think how esports can be useful for people, not only playing. And we developed programs for education and school dropouts, and it works. What is crazy is the engagement of the youth is so strong in video games and esports that you can do everything you want with them. And we show to institutions that with some programs, we can fight against dropout, we can fight against toxicity, we can fight against intergenerational connection, not against, but we develop interactional generational connection between youth and seniors, because youth animate clubs in seniors' house. It's just crazy how it works, and they're sharing a lot of things. And we changed the view of video games and esports, and with this, we can ask for money to the government, and we change our economic model in that way, because now we have some solution of their issue. That's totally different that I want to create an esports club. And with this, we are working together on developing our value chain. It's really important for us because we have some impact on territory. It's not only a view of European level. Yes, I have a team. I want to win the European title, but it's only a flagship on my economic model at the end. It's not the end of what I want to do. What I want to do is to develop the ecosystem around me and be useful to the territory.
You will be very happy to know that this is also highlighted by the European Parliament report, the importance of video games and esports for acquiring social skills, acquiring soft skills, digital skills, and also for integration. So, and hopefully this will not happen just in France, where you see folks in very advanced, but in different countries around Europe.
We have proof of concept if they
have proof
need.
of concept. Let's use it as a blueprint for everybody. Alicia, what's something that you can highlight that you've been involved with at Team Queso lately?
I would like to talk about our tokenization that we did recently from our own capital. So it was kind of a crowdfunding, but through the new tools that we have through the Web3. This way, we started a new brand called Queso Limpo, which is, I think it's launching today. So we are starting a lot of new activities to explore what the Web3 blockchain industry can help esports to grow, to engage with the people, and give some utilities from the fan to work on fan engagement. So that's my book.
I've heard that it's been very successful.
Yeah, from nowadays I think we have raised about 2.2 million euros.
Congratulations, it's very impressive. So, Jordi.
It's amazing what Team Queso with this initiative. It is. Well, we are working in, let's say, in two initiatives. As you said previously, with COVID, the online audiences were amazing. But now we think it's time to go to the physical events again. So our challenge is not only to go back to the physical events, but also to to scale these physical events. So this is something that we are going to be focused in 23 and 24. And in parallel, we are also working in how we are going to be in the metaverse. I know this is something that everybody is talking.
Yeah, that word had to appear at some point.
It's challenging, even for MediaPro. MediaPro is already in the metaverse. We have some initiatives. So I think it's something that will be sooner or later. And we are exploring how will be our position in metaverse.
And Vincent?
Yeah, I wanted to mention two things. The first one is that at Paris & Co, we always want to talk and see what's going on abroad. So if you want to talk about innovation and esports, feel free to reach out. And the second point is that as a conclusion, for all we said during this panel is that thanks to the local and national institutional support, we were able to host major events. We have a lot of international solicitation in Paris and in France to welcome those events. So we created group work, a task force to give a unique answer to all those solicitation. And the specific point of that is that this group of work is composed of private and institutional. So we work now together to address those demands.
Mm-hmm. So we are going to wrap up. We have like 3 minutes for questions by the audience, but I would like to wrap up with some of the ideas that I've gotten from the conversation. The main one maybe being the unity, the alignment among the endemic stakeholders, including the video game publishers, which have a very important, position in the sector. The second is that the public sphere must listen to these endemic stakeholders to know how to develop, how to help develop, and how to remove the roadblocks that are preventing the growth of the sector. I've learned as well that the bridges with the sports world are positive when everybody is doing what they know to do, and that can help everybody to grow and to reach. Everybody can learn from each other and to reach new audiences and new stages of development. And also the importance of this network of mostly small and medium enterprises that are the driving force of the video games and the esports, and in particular of the esports ecosystem in Europe. And we have a couple of minutes only. I don't know if there are any questions from the audience. I can't see anything with the light, so I literally see nothing. No, is there a question? Yes, no? I don't think there is. So in this case, thank you very much, IDEA, for organizing the event. Thanks so much to the Officina di Grandi Riparazioni for the amazing venue. And I don't know if you want to see any final words.
No, I'm really happy to come here and to share. Perhaps next time don't put lessons. We are not here to give lessons.
Yeah,
I think we are here to share.
What I thought.
It's so French to say lessons, and we have a bad reputation about this. So please just put.
You are absolutely
sharing.
right. It's my fault. Okay, so thank you very much for coming. I hope to see you and everybody else next year here in Torino again. And thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.